What happens when a comedian dressed as Donald Trump pushes Alec Baldwin to his absolute breaking point? The answer will shock you and reveal something disturbing about how far some content creators will go for viral fame. This isn't just another celebrity meltdown. This is a perfect storm of trauma, exploitation, and the dark side of internet culture that everyone needs to understand. Just days ago, outside his Manhattan apartment building, Alec Baldwin found himself face to face with Jason Scoop, a comedian who makes his living impersonating the former president. But this wasn't your typical street encounter. What started as what appeared to be harmless content creation quickly escalated into something that crossed every line imaginable. Picture this scene. Baldwin is simply trying to unload luggage from his car after what we can assume was a long day. He's minding his own business, when suddenly this guy appears, dressed in a navy blue suit with a blonde wig, speaking in an exaggerated Trump voice. Now you might be thinking, okay, that's just a harmless prank, right? Hold that thought, because what happens next changes everything. Scoop starts his routine with what seems like typical political comedy. He's offering Baldwin a presidential pardon, making jokes about Saturday Night Live, talking about Democrats losing the election. Baldwin ignores him completely. Smart move. Most celebrities would have just walked away at this point. But here's where this story takes a devastating turn that nobody saw coming. The comedian then says something that no human being should ever have to hear. He brings up Halyna Hutchins, the cinematographer who tragically died on the Rust film set, and makes jokes about her death. Let me repeat that. He makes jokes about a woman who lost her life, leaving behind a husband and young son, all for the sake of getting a reaction on camera. Now, before you start thinking about taking sides here, consider this. Baldwin has been living with this trauma for over 3 years. He's spoken publicly about having PTSD from the incident. His wife has mentioned how he sometimes says he wishes it had been him instead. This isn't just professional criticism we're talking about. This is psychological warfare disguised as comedy. The exact words Scoop used were absolutely brutal. He told Baldwin that Halyna Hutchins was looking down, happy that someone was confronting the man who killed her. Imagine hearing those words about someone whose death you've been blamed for, someone whose death has haunted you every single day. What would you do in that moment? And here's what I find most disturbing about this entire situation. Some people are actually defending the comedian, saying it's just free speech, just comedy, just content creation. But when does free speech become harassment? When does comedy become cruelty? When does content creation become exploitation of genuine human trauma? Baldwin's response was immediate and intense. He told Scoop to look at him, pointed out that his children live in that building, and then said the words that are now making headlines everywhere. He threatened to snap the comedian's neck if the camera wasn't recording. Now, obviously, threatening violence is never okay, but can we really act surprised that someone pushed to their absolute limit reacted this way? This brings up something crucial that most people aren't talking about. The power dynamic here is completely skewed. Scoop gets to hide behind the character of Trump, behind the label of comedy, behind the protection of his camera. Meanwhile, Baldwin is just a man trying to live his life, dealing with real trauma, being ambushed outside his own home where his children sleep. But there's another layer to this story that makes it even more complex. Baldwin himself spent years impersonating Trump on Saturday Night Live, sometimes in ways that were pretty harsh. So does that make him fair game for this kind of treatment? Does mocking someone on television give others the right to traumatize you about actual deaths? I'd argue absolutely not. But this is where the conversation gets really interesting. The video has been viewed over 1.2 million times in just days. Jason Scoop is getting exactly what he wanted. Viral fame, attention, people talking about him. Mission accomplished, right? But at what cost? And what does this say about what we're willing to consume and share as entertainment? Here's what really bothers me about this whole situation. Baldwin's involuntary manslaughter charges were dismissed just 2 months ago in December of 2024. The legal system determined there wasn't enough evidence to hold him criminally responsible. Yet here's someone treating him like a convicted murderer, using the death of an innocent woman as material for internet content. Think about the message this sends to other content creators. If this works, if harassment disguised as comedy gets millions of views and makes you internet famous, how many other people are going to try similar tactics? How many other celebrities, or just regular people, are going to find themselves being traumatized for someone else's viral moment? And let's be honest about something else. If you watch the full video, you can see the exact moment Baldwin breaks. It's not acting, it's not performance, it's genuine human pain and rage. There's something deeply unsettling about watching someone's psychological breaking point become entertainment for millions of people. Now, I know some of you are thinking that celebrities sign up for this kind of attention when they choose public life. But that's not really true, is it? Nobody signs up to have their trauma weaponized against them. Nobody agrees to be harassed about the worst moment of their life while they're just trying to take luggage out of their car. The timing of this incident is also significant. Baldwin just launched a new reality show with his wife called The Baldwins on TLC. In the premiere episode, he talks openly about his PTSD diagnosis and how the Rust incident continues to affect him daily. He says he's happier when he's asleep than when he's awake. That's not a man who needs someone making jokes about the source of his trauma. So where does this leave us? What's the takeaway from this viral moment that everyone's talking about? I think it reveals something uncomfortable about our culture's relationship with celebrity, trauma, and entertainment. We've created a system where someone's worst moment, someone's genuine psychological pain, can become content that gets shared millions of times. The real question isn't whether Baldwin was right to threaten the comedian. The real question is whether we should be supporting content that deliberately traumatizes people for views. Every share, every like, every comment on that video tells content creators that this behavior works, that psychological harassment is an acceptable way to build an audience. This incident perfectly captures everything that's wrong with viral culture right now. The race for attention has become so desperate that people are willing to cross any line, hurt anyone, exploit any tragedy, as long as it gets them views. And the most tragic part is that it works. We reward this behavior with our attention, our engagement, our shares. If you found this analysis helpful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the stories behind the viral moments everyone's talking about. Check out my previous video about celebrity harassment and where we draw the line between public interest and personal privacy. The conversation about digital ethics in viral culture is just getting started, and I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below.